Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, is this Nancy?
This is Nancy.
Hi, this is Leslie Sabatini, the ombudsman we spoke to on the 5th of August from the Oregon Department of Human Services Governor's Advocacy Office.
Yeah, there was about record requests that
Yeah,
still,
you left a message for me on Saturday that it didn't, the message you left didn't make sense to me.
it didn't make sense to you.
No.
What did it say?
We talked about me being the person that was in the record 10 years
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
I
Okay,
was the
so,
Department of Justice, so that was confusing.
okay, so, okay, well, maybe I could explain better. So, what it is that I'm reporting my case, myself, as a victim of a 10-year-long human trafficking case because for me, on my end, the records that I've collected up, it's really egregious and it does look like a human trafficking case. So you said to me in my when I looked over our conversation that um like oh no, I have your name. I actually have a hearing issue, so I have it as Babatini, but I have you in my phone from 2016, and you said you made decisions regarding my case. So I was asking for the records. If you've made any decisions like personally regarding me, I would like those records. Not that you have a
I'm
job
not
to do.
understanding that.
What's that?
I don't understand that.
You don't understand what?
But I made decisions in 2016.
Oh, no.
So,
In our conversation, I was repeating to you the things I was trying to report that I was experiencing from caseworkers, which was, in my opinion, criminal harassment or failure to apply policies, things like that. And so you repeated back to me things that I apparently did report to you, and you were the person I talked to. I didn't realize you were the same person I spoke to in 2016 when I spoke to you last time. Or, I mean, you told me that you made me aware of that. And then I checked my records and
okay.
you were right.
Um, when you worked with our office before,
Yes, I tried 3 times to report to the governor's advocacy office during this 10-year long horrible episode that I experienced with, in my opinion, criminal behavior, which I've been attempting to report.
mm-hmm.
So, you know, when it comes to that type of criminal thing, I'm not sure if it is a human trafficking case. I'm not sure if that's local sheriff or if that's FBI who have to investigate that, especially if
So,
like local people are involved in the failures of the reasons why that happened.
okay. So, that's criminal matter, which our office is not part
Right.
of
So through
or
you, I'm just
responsibility
seeking
review,
records.
but
Remember, we
yeah,
spoke with Misty, and Misty was going to look in to see about the 10 pages that are redacted.
well, and I want to make sure because actually where our conversation left off on the 5th, you thought it was a little exhausting because trying to understand how you were calling about self-sufficiency services and the information they had and those records, but then you said that you felt that child welfare should have known all of that when they came out and interviewed you, and I was trying to explain how that might not be the case. And you said I need to take a break, and so
Yeah, I have a recording of it. And
yeah,
so what I'm just seeking is the records. And yes, I did feel that, I realized it made me a little bit uncomfortable when in the moment that I realized you are the same person I've been talking to about my case and the abuse.
okay. I don't know how, but okay. We've been working together on this matter since July.
Okay. So you
And
are
then I can look because let me see if
are
there's
you aware that I have your name as the person I spoke to in 2016 in a contact in my phone?
no, but this may be
And I remember
'Cause I'm
speaking with a
looking-
woman in
I'm
2016.
I'm looking because you have reached out to us in September of 2017. It looks like,
That would be correct. Yeah, I would agree.
okay, so yes. So
But
that
then
I
also
thought I
in
wasn't aware of that, so you pointed that
2019,
out to me just now. And we talked, let's see.
so I believe I actually reached out to your agency probably like in 2015 and then 2017 and then 2019.
Okay.
Something like that, just, it was like every couple of years I kept trying, like, this is still happening. I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to make sure that you, the records, the 10-page redacted records are from self-sufficiency. That's one discipline under Department of Human Services that manages the domestic violence program. Or if the redacted records you need or the records are from child welfare.
So I can understand your question, and that was also my question, but it seems to me from everyone I've spoken to, everyone's saying it sounds like they're coming from self-sufficiency side. But, so, and all I'm saying is, are those 10 pages information that are information I've never had access to, or are, maybe it's information I even already have. I'm not accusing anybody of, I just don't know at this point.
Well, I didn't have a clear idea during our conversation on the 5th, if it was, because I can't see what you're looking at. If I can see it, does it look like it's just missing pages, like it goes from, page 7 to 17, and there's not the 8, 9, 10, there's just not there?
Yeah, it's like 1 through 10 is just gone. Or like 2 through 10. Or, and I can see that. But that doesn't mean to me that
I want to make sure, that because the Misty that I found, is this out of Roseburg?
Misty was in Eugene or Springfield, but I think she said Eugene. But she also,
is it Misty Mosquito?
it was something with an M. Her last name was an M. Started with an M. And
send an email and I'll ask her what was sent. I think it will help me if I can physically look at what was sent to you.
Right.
For me to make sense of it, because I have to kind of rely on, I'll just recognize what kind of record it is. So that's make it easier for me so I can tell what it's self-sufficient. It sounds like it's self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
So let me reach out to her.
Okay, can I make you a little bit more aware more? So Misty was going to, there's the 10 pages that we are talking about, but there was also, I was trying to explain that the letters I was receiving, like there's one specifically from Sandy, I think her last name is Henry, and she was like, the letter said specifically like your abuser, you're communicating with your abuser, and that, in my opinion, I'm like, I have no, why she would think, that to me is, it's actually the opposite of the truth. I was like trying to constantly report that this is a problem, and so she was supposed to be looking if there was more records that she could share with me about like why, rather than just the letter I received from Sandy Henry, like is there more records about that incident? I was wanting to know how that decision was made.
That was happening at the time it was at the worker.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. So Misty did send me the records I requested. It's just when I got the records, I saw 10 pages was like, missing. And so I was just curious as to what those 10 pages are. But then on top of that, in that, what I received was a letter from I remember this happening. She sent me a letter saying your abuser was at your house. And I was like, I had worked with her at UT&E, before, so I already knew her, so I felt the situation was kind of inappropriate because I knew who she was, and I just like, maybe you could, so I wanted to cancel it, but then I got a letter from her immediately after I canceled wanting to, work with her because I felt like, it just seemed inappropriate because I had already knew her before. And that's when she sent me that letter, so I just was looking for more, any other records, in that decision behavior behind all of that, because that seemed off to me.
Okay, and so it was a snail mail letter?
Yes.
Okay, so they should have that in the system, and that was, who was let me write down who the worker was.
The person who came to my home was named Sandy is her first name, and I believe her last name was Henry or Hendy, something like that.
So are you sure that wasn't relating to the child welfare assessment?
No, this is from 2012 or something, way a long time ago. And in the beginning, and so I'm looking, of course, so are the DVS records, but
So that was relating to self-sufficiency then?
I believe so, yes.
So this is where, because if child welfare were investigating your family because an unsafe person had access to the child and the survivor wasn't able to...
Well, that's where I get confused because I feel like I was making a report about that, and so I kind of seems with my ex-husband being the person,
Yeah.
and it just kind of was being. It seems to me like it was kind of ignored and overlooked.
Well, I don't know because I'm trying to navigate whether we're talking about self-sufficiency or child welfare.
Right, and so that's where I'm trying to explain to you that I myself, especially back then, knowing a lot less about your system, even I believe it's all self-sufficiency, but I was like, there could be some from child welfare that I'm not aware of, but I was trying to work with them and get them to work with me. I just think they weren't working with me. The kids were technically safe with me, and that's, you know what I mean? So.
What's your ex-husband's name?
What's that?
What's your ex-husband's name?
I do have a hearing issue, and I couldn't make out what you said.
Oh, excuse me. What is your ex-husband's name?
Oh, ex-husband's Shane Hamilton, Shayne,
Okay.
and Ray is his middle name, Ray.
Okay. And this was back in 2012?
Yes, and then so this thing with like harassment just continued for 10 more years. It was just, and I just kept reporting it. And it was just really confusing to me how. That's why I'm looking for extra records for more answers to how it came to be. So long that no one did anything.
Well, self-sufficiency would be there to help support
Right.
the family being safe
Right.
as far as financial support. Child welfare would be there to ensure that children are not placed in threat of harm because of a dangerous person.
Right. And that it was happening. I was reporting it, and it was coming back unfounded. And I can't, for the life of me, figure out how it was. Yeah.
Okay. So let me see what I can find regarding the child welfare case, dating back to that, because I can look at that. And then I'm emailing Misty now. Thank you for your patience because it's I have to do things in order. And our office does not provide you records. You stated that in your message. It's not what we do. It's not our function. So I have to help people and do the work as I receive it. And so thank you for your patience and for understanding I was out.
Oh, sure. I can understand that.
See what I can find out because it's two different disciplines. So
And
I'll email Misty finding out about the redacted records, the page 1 through 10, and kind of get a better handle on it. And then, poke around and see what I can find in your child welfare case dating back to 2012 and around there.
Right, and then the Sandy Hendy, since like coming to my home and sending me a letter, like in my opinion, what was kind of like a threatening letter, kind of inappropriate. So.
Well, it kind of sounds like it could be a child welfare thing.
Yeah.
And back then, how the agency has started working with survivors of domestic violence in current day is different than how the agency is working with survivors of domestic violence, or how they did it historically. And so, education, understanding, those kind of things have happened, and so hopefully improvement as far as working with, if they're back then, for example, if there was an investigation of abuse and suspected domestic violence in a home, the survivor would actually, if they were unable to protect, they could get a founded disposition. Nowadays, they don't do that. So sometimes the behavior of a survivor and the cycle of abuse is not in such a way that's protective of the children because they can't. And so the way that the agency works with families is different. However, there is
Well, I mean, to me, that
possibility
sounds like victim blaming.
that's why it's just sad.
I mean,
I'm not
I would
arguing
caution
that.
people from communicating with anyone in that way.
I'm talking about 2012.
Yeah,
Right.
yes, I know. Yes.
Yeah. Because education and knowledge and understanding happen. There's a lot of mistakes that have been made with law enforcement and how they approach and treat domestic violence households, whether it's suspected.
Right.
They've changed that, which is good. There still is a responsibility of the responsible parents to be protected. And
Well,
if the agency
I do.
cannot ensure the safety of the children, they work differently, understanding trauma.
Could you go out and close my door? I can't hear
but,
because of the train.
but it doesn't mean there still is
Could you go out for a minute?
a need to protect the children at all costs, right? So let me look and see what was going on, and I would hope that at the time, if you felt it was of interest to have an employee in your home, that you would have voiced that.
Yeah, so I can hear what you're saying, but what you're communicating to me isn't what I experienced, and I don't want you to fill in any of my blanks in the way that you're speaking. So I just want to make it clear there were established rules and policies that were well established when I was making these complaints and to the officer. And this is a case of, when I reported maybe like 163.245 and 163.257, which is a law code for Oregon for
That doesn't mean anything to me. So
yeah, it's interfering with the custody.
criminal
And so if an
law,
officer then lies to me and says it's a misdemeanor when it's really a felony,
I can't speak to what law enforcement did. So I'm not,
no,
I
ma'am,
can't
you
talk
just
about law
did.
enforcement.
Ma'am, I was referring to the statement you just made. And so you were saying that laws have changed, and I was,
I didn't say the laws.
since
I'm talking about child
2012.
welfare. I have nothing to do with law enforcement.
Okay.
I'm talking about child welfare and how they do their work. Oh, what I did allude to is even law enforcement has been historically known to be under and inappropriately trained to work with families.
Right, I would probably agree with that statement. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not
I think
arguing with
that's
you about that.
probably
I'm even saying, yeah, actually, this was in my situation. This is a case where I was aware of the law to the caseworker reporting the crime, and the caseworker saying unfounded. So all of that to me is I'm very suspicious, of course, as the victim of this, long case, but that's all why I'm just collecting the records.
Me when I just am acknowledging that there has been a historical lack of training with people working with families professionally, whether it be law enforcement, whether it be child welfare, and there's been progress, probably never enough.
Right. So I do want to
Understand.
apologize too. There was a train in the background, so I couldn't exactly make out everything you said. I was doing the best I could, so I apologize.
Well, and so I just want to be clear that I'm only going to focus on what child welfare did.
Right now, I'm just looking for you to collect a record. If there's records for me to gain, yes.
I'm emailing Misty. I'm going to look at the child welfare case back then. If there was a conflict of interest at the time, it needed to be voiced at the time.
Yeah,
If we're talking about 2012 and 2014.
right, and we're talking about lots of that occurring. In my opinion, from my end, there was a lot of that. So that's why it's really confusing for me.
Okay. Well, if there was a conflict of interest with an employee of DHS in 2012, the time to bring it up was then.
Yeah, and that's probably why I did bring it up then.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
and they make a
several other,
decision.
and then year after year after year after, and I brought it up again. And so, um,
Okay.
so I do have one last question for you, if you don't mind, before I have to get off the phone here.
Sure.
So you work for the governor's advocacy office, and what is your job title? Just if you don't mind me asking,
It just broke up.
say that one more
I
time.
work for the Oregon Department of Human Services, Governor's Advocacy Office, and I'm an ombudsman.
What's it called again? The job title?
Ombudsman.
Ombudsman.
Yes, ombudsman.
Okay. And so, Mike, I just wanted to ask you, like, how, I'm not sure how it works exactly, of course, because I don't do what you do. When it comes to my case, did you yourself make any decisions regarding my case, or do you yourself only make decisions like recommendations for the governor's advocacy about changing laws?
Well, our office is under the umbrella of Department of Human Services. We report to the Oregon Department of Human Services Director and the Oregon Governor's offices about matters of concern and complaint for folks that are being served by DHS in any capacity, or having complaints. They don't have to be served by DHS. So what we do is we take the complaint and we do an administrative review depending on what the complaint is. We want to ensure that policy is followed, and also practice too, because when you're talking about child welfare, and I think this is the term we'd use nowadays, it would be trauma-informed practice when you're working with people experiencing trauma. We can look at that, and it's better if it's timely. Like if you had DHS come knocking on your door today and you didn't feel comfortable with what had transpired, we were going to chat, and I'm going to follow up and kind of help you to understand what should happen and why they might have asked us, or if it was inappropriate, I'd follow up with the supervisor. So, and then we make findings, and if we found DHS did make errors in how a case was handled or a situation was handled, we'll follow up. And we make recommendations depending on if it's just case by case.
So you yourself do make recommendations in maybe my case, or I mean other people's cases. That would be a correct assumption of your job duties?
Yes, we make both recommendations that we don't consider formal, and we make formal recommendations if we feel it's necessary as well.
Okay, so now that presents me with one last question, if you don't mind. Sorry about that. So I do have a situation where I was looking. There is a man that came to my home, and he was seeking my niece. And so I myself feel that this interaction was criminal harassment, and something that I feel like I should report to, like a sheriff office, because I live in a sheriff town. But so, and then when I tried to seek those records, because I actually didn't have his last name, but I recorded it, so now I realize it might be in the recording. But I was seeking the records, if there were any records, due to trying to get his last name for filing the report, because I feel like it's unwanted contact and harassment and intimidation, and which is kind of blatantly explained. So are you saying, would I need to, in order to get those records, I would need to, or someone said I need to talk to you about it. I believe I was emailed.
I don't know. I don't have any. That was a pretty uninformative description.
Yeah, so in December of this year, a man named Cameron.
They came to see your niece. I don't know if your niece is an adult or a child.
An adult.
And so I don't know who he is.
With children under age 6.
Department of Human Services employee.
Right. Yes. So.
Is your niece a minor?
No.
Your niece is an adult?
Yes.
And a man came to talk to her
about jobs program. About jobs program. When she's exempt.
Okay, and why is she not calling us as an adult?
Because I'm the one who witnessed it. She was not here. And I'm the one that recorded it.
Okay.
And I'm the one he spoke with. And I'm the one that feels harassed by the exchange. And I'm the one who feels harassed by the exchange.
Oh, okay. Well, did he give you a business card?
Yes, he did, but I don't have it anymore. So that
When did this happen?
December 12th, I believe, of this last December.
And did you call anyone?
That is what I'm attempting to do. Yes.
Now, is it a complaint with me? I'm asking at the time, did you call someone? That was 9 months
No, I
ago?
documented it. Yes, I called my niece.
Okay.
The person he was looking for, to let her know.
So now, I
So,
wonder
so
why you wait till
my
September.
right. So I guess what would be maybe the best thing I could do with you later, as we're probably both out of time today, but is go through and ask you a policy about your specific agency, like what's your policy for this or that, like specifically what's your exemptions, you know, if I could get a clear answer, things like that.
For what exemptions?
Or would you rather me speak to just a caseworker about that, which is understandable?
Well, I guess I don't have enough information, but if your niece lives with you and has an address and something's suspicious in the job program, that would tell me that she likely has children and
Underage,
mandatory.
underage
If
6.
she is exempt, that's between her and the worker.
Yeah. So coming to someone's home to intimidate them about a program they're exempt from when the worker should be explaining that she's exempt from the program, don't you see how that qualifies as unwanted contact? You don't see that as unwanted contact?
I'd say that's her business to handle.
Oh, well, okay. So it was unwanted contact for me. I had unwanted contact.
You're not the client.
Yeah, so I'm the victim of someone coming to my home seeking information in an inappropriate way, in my opinion.
I don't know what happened.
And it sounds like you're kind of, I'm going to be honest with you, Leslie. My communications with you are, yeah, so your behavior towards me has been aggressive, and I'm going to go ahead and end us having communications from now on, and I would like for you to forward me over to another worker, if you don't mind. And go ahead and, I mean, you can still respond. Yeah, actually, who is your supervisor, if you don't mind? And could I get that information? Could you spell that?
His full name is Maurice, Maurice, but he goes by Mo.
Is that just M-O or M-O-E or?
Maurice. Mo, just M-O.
Oh, okay. And his last name is what?
Glenn, Glenn.
Okay. And is he should I communicate through email or is there a phone number, or if I wanted to file a complaint?
You can email
or a concern, I should say.
Email and ask to speak to the supervisor. No.
Okay. So are you able to, respond to my requests with the records and communicate with me about that without there being, or should I just move on to another worker? Someone, because I'm
already mid-email about where we hit send. It's up to you.
I do feel like I have you at communicating with me since 2016, and since there was a lot of abuse that happened since then, and everyone was saying unfounded, and I'm making the same report to you. It seems like you might be someone who isn't being responsive to my request or my complaints. So it might not be appropriate for us to communicate about it. If I'm a victim of being harassed and it continued through your care, I think maybe that would make it inappropriate for us to communicate further through your own policies. Through your own policies and at your agency, that would make it, I think.
I'll let you communicate that with Mo.
Okay.
All right. Do you want me to send the email to Misty?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Who should I'm okay with, I still would like my, requests, I'm okay with it even being you.
Already started it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah. But maybe any other further questions I could deal with someone else for the future.
I'll let Mo make that decision.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Right. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Bye-bye.